Hello, my dear friends. I'm going to talk about stupidity of Americans and how they live in 1984 right now. Um, I'm going to read some comments from my Minds page because there is a lot of people like that. I know, first of all, I have to say that I know that many disagree with me and many people will disagree with those people who are opposing me, but I don't care. What I care is about the truth. And I will start from one comment that said, "You have no logic. You're just jealous that you failed at everything." First of all, this person doesn't know me. I wouldn't be like liberal. You don't know me. You don't know my personality. No, it's not about the personality. He don't know my net worth. It's share numbers. He don't know where I live, how I live, which job I have. He don't know anything about me. And yet he claimed that I'm just jealous because he just simply out of arguments. And there is another guy who commented like, let's say, the essence of government is power, and power lodged as it must be in human hands, will be liable to abuse. James Madison. I have no idea why he's even comment me on that. Other his post was like, your selective belief in history is adorable, and the picture saying that off to Gulag now. How is that relevant? I don't really understand. Also, he of course posted the Solzhenitsyn from Wikipedia. After all, who else you can go to if you lost all your arguments? Of course, go into Solzhenitsyn. Who wouldn't go to there? Because, come on, there is simply no other sources of information for Americans and for like lots of Russian people. There is literally no other arguments, but Solzhenitsyn wrote. One Solzhenitsyn, one man wrote one book. Let's go to another comment because it was very, very funny. You've already discredited yourself. Too much for me to care what you say. Which I have to, of course, reply with, the truth is the only thing that matters. Good or bad, I don't care. I try to imply, if you're trying to imply a bunch of lies and that I know is lies, I will fight against it with all my heart. This American mentality is like, all you say is lies. I know better, I know better, I know better. And they will find even reliable American sources that will support their beliefs. For example, there was case with Pinochet. Pinochet was, it's like literally on his Wikipedia page. No one even hide it. USA was installed by US government to be dictator. He created a mess in South America. I don't remember actually. I remember his name, but nothing else. And this guy posted some picture that turned somebody, some American politic, probably it was Ron or Rand Paul, I don't know, to a Pinochet. And this is how somehow is relevant. Relevant to what? Why it should be relevant? Because I don't know. You need the context, of course, because it's like, it's just a picture, a political compass, which say where we are right now. You have to understand that Political compass, it's a political compass. It's objective information that you have. And you really think that you are on not libertarian, but liberty side of the spectrum, when in reality you're on authoritarian spectrum, let's say. What else? What else can I give you? You can go to my Minds page and read it. Read the comments under this picture of political compass. You can find it if you really need it. I'm very lazy, and the common mistake from Americans. Dream society. You mean the one where people are free to do what they want, pray how they want, or not at all? But that's tyranny. In United States, you're absolutely free to do what you want. The picture doesn't say that it is tyranny. Tyranny, it's authoritarian, like on political compass, it's like straight up to how it goes, northeast, straight up to the northeast, to the far corner. That will be on political compass tyranny. The point of fascism, and no, not fascism, Nazism, because fascism was pretty much a better. In essence, fascism is much better than Nazism, because it's like pointed only on one nation, mostly. But Nazism, it's corporate tyranny. It's a pretty much dictatorship with a corporate power. It's not dictatorship, sheer dictatorship, because it's this kind of Nazism is clearly represented with big power of corporations in authoritarian dictatorship, let's say. That what was Germany in 1930s. Pretty much the same happening right now in United States. The point is not the point is not like defend communism or socialism. For example, the simple fact that there was literally never was commune-based society. Never was. It was maybe on the start of American nation, but I wouldn't say that those towns, cities, farms is like commune societies. No, they are not, first of all. And second, they do not choose the government, etc. So there was no commune society before. Never existed. What is communism in essence? It's the commune society. It never happens, but you believe not only that it happens, but that it's a bad thing. When I'm trying to imply the facts, I did previous video on the fact that millions of dead, at least in USSR, because I have Russian information, I can read Russian, I can find Russian sources and I can read them, and also I can listen to historians who will provide me with documents. So I wouldn't say about China, but even in China they're not all that simple. I tried to talk to these people and explain them that Russian economy was booming all throughout the history of country, until Gorbachev decided to destroy, not Gorbachev himself, of course, but the system of apparatus, I guess, the party apparatus decide to destroy the country. And people have no say in such situation. And pretty much the same happening right now in United States. It's just how twisted is American mentality should be that they really think that Pinochet was communist, that he create all his crimes in the name of communism. How it's relevant, it's if you put there this guy Rand Paul or who he is, one of the Pauls, I guess. If you put in this picture Rand Paul and turn him into Pinochet, it's like you are literally saying that American government is creating the Pinochet. It is true in some way. Pinochet was installed and created by American government, and also Pinochet knew that he could be simply replaced with another guy, and therefore he did what he wanted in the name of capitalism and United States. Condor operation, it's pretty much in the open in Wikipedia page. No one hide this information from you. No one hide information about Pinochet. I don't know, is there a Wikipedia page of Russian, the history of this penalty in Russia since the late years, or how to say, since the Middle Ages, like 14 or 12 I guess, 12th century, since the 12th century. There is Wikipedia page which said that since in the period from 1962 to up to 1991, sorry, period from 62 to 91 was executed by this penalty. How many? 22,000 if I correct, 22,000 people. 24 was sentenced to death penalty and 22,000 was executed. Where all those millions came from, I have no idea. Downgrade or downfall, I don't know how to say it correctly. The fall of population in USSR during the World War II is clearly showing the numbers that can be related to the number of military losses. Like there was war, there was hunger because infrastructure was destroyed, because we couldn't grow food enough in numbers that country needed because there was war, and other things that correlates with this, diseases, how it's said, anxiety, and etc. So if you compare these numbers to number of military losses and add some numbers from these losses, not military losses but civil losses, you will compare these numbers, you will compare this graph with number of downfall in population in USSR during World War II, you couldn't find any repressions. No one said that there was no repressions, but as with Holodomor, it's little when they talk about Holodomor, when American propaganda talking about Holodomor, they trying to take one part of the world, one small part of the world, Ukraine. They pointed on Ukraine, exactly on Ukraine, and they ignore Volga region, Poland. There was a lot of places where hunger happens because of the weather. Hunger happens every like 13 years previously. Again, no one hide it. It's in Wikipedia page. Just look for it. And if you're trying to present these numbers to people, if you're trying to ask them to do a little research, you know what they will find. Of course, they will find a bunch of pages where there was 100 million people killed by communist regimes. Then they add up authoritarian regime to communist regimes. And let's sum it up to 320 million of people. How authoritarian regimes is relevant to communist regimes? How do you count? How you measure this? And all comes up to when you literally find the real numbers, you will find out that there was no repressions, there was no pointed murders on some people. Mao Zedong does not kill people just because he wanted to, or because he authoritarian, or because he something else. If you're trying to go right now in China, you wouldn't find their repressions. You wouldn't find people who are afraid of something or something along those lines. I was in China, and I have this conflict with street salesmen. We shouted at each other. I pushed on him, he pushed on me. There was a lot of Chinese. Do you know how many of them was afraid? I was a tourist, of course, and I could like complain and say that, come on, police, help me. Of course, I didn't do that because this conflict wasn't so bad, or we didn't fight or something along those lines. But do you know what I see in eyes of those Chinese people? I don't see their fear. They're not afraid at all. They are very brave. They are going to protect themselves on the streets of their cities. Every year, as I was pointed out already, every year, I don't know, thousands and thousands, maybe tens of thousands, Chinese people come to my city because I live 250 kilometers from China. They live in my city, they work here, they sell goods because they're Chinese. They sell goods, they, I don't know, have restaurants, they have business here, they can live here, they can stay here, etc. The same with the same amount of rights and liberties, I guess, that America right now have. Even more. Freedom of speech in Russia is much more higher right now than in America. But each year on Chinese New Year in February or something over there, everyone is rolled back to China. They even closed all stores, they close all cafes, they close everything and go back to China to celebrate a new year. Why? Explain me why they going back to China when they can stay in free society, or I don't know, ask for some kind of how it's said, political refugee status. What are you talking about? You live in society of written by George Orwell, and it absolutely have no connections with socialism whatsoever. Socialistic, let's say, how it's said, social policies, social, it's not socialistic policies, social policies installed by capitalistic government, or by capitalistic form of governing, or by capitalistic economy, doesn't make that economy more socialistic. if they want to make some social decisions, it's not because they are socialists. It's because they want to gain number of voters or people who will support them or donate to their campaign. Because I don't believe that your vote is matter in reality. Your opinion can be shaped. You pretty much simply to be brainwashed. After all, arguments like "you jealous," it's hilarious arguments. I'm jealous because your government is 100% capitalistic, whether it call itself socialist or don't. It's absolutely irrelevant what policies they make, what decisions they create. The goal is matter. How it will benefit capital, not how it will benefit society. In socialism, yes, government rule, but everything belongs to the people. And government role in socialism is distribution, nothing else. That everyone have enough, always. And if you achieve something more than above average, you get your share. If you don't want to work, it's your problem. It's society. You have to work on society to benefit the society. If you don't want to work in our society, then you're useless for society and you have to go. You have to go to the jail and work there. If you don't want to work, we will force you to work. It's not because we are authoritarian or bad. Everyone working and everyone getting. Therefore, if you don't work and you don't get in socialistic country, let me remind you, if you don't work and you get, then you breaking the law. What we see in capitalistic USA, you don't work and you get. Is this some kind of forms of socialism? Is this some kind of form of fair share or fair distribution? No. It has nothing in common with socialism. The system is capitalistic in itself. It works like that. You live in a 1984 society. Lie for you is truth and truth is a lie. You can't be stupid. You can't be that stupid. It's just, I don't know how you gain to the state of mind that you are like, come on, wake up. You should understand that it's your government lying to you, lying for generations already, because it's this mentality of lies came from very far, from 1950s, and you get this idea that communism and socialism is bad. Communism is impossible right now. Right now, communism absolutely 100% is impossible. No one ever tried communism. You can try socialism in our modern society, but you can't try communism in our modern society. Yet someone trying. As I was pointed, Mondragon Corporation in Spain, it's commune society, but it's commune society that live in capitalism and work by capitalistic economy basics. So it couldn't be called as communism, as commune society. Because when what they're going to do and how they're going to prosper outside of capitalistic tax evasions, support from the government, I don't know, capitalistic market, etc. How they're going to operate outside of the system, no one knows. And therefore, they still under control of the government, and it's not like everything belongs to them. The only share of land, production, and inside of this community, everything belongs to the people. Because people in charge, people are voters, people are voting on workplace, etc. It's like was in early USSR. But outside of this system, it's not closed system, and therefore it's still socialism. Sorry, and it has a system of governing the hired managers, etc. Yes, you can call it socialistic enterprise, and it's very, very surprisingly successful. It grows from a small village community to a huge $4 billion corporation that have how it's said, that have companies in other countries. It's not they are not belong to corporations. They create mutual partnership with another communes, and they like get into this commune society. It's just you have to understand, Americans right now are so brainwashed, and it's not just a figure of speech, it's literal. You are brainwashed, you are indoctrinated, you are believing lies, and truth for you is lie. You don't want to do the research, you don't want to look for information, and if you can, if you have if you have a wish to find that information, it's so hard to find the truth in this pile of lies. It's like a mountain of lies, and and you need this, and you need to find this mountain of lies a small needle of truth. I tried to search through your through American, or let's say English Google search results on millions of dead, repressions, Holodomor, etc., etc. I tried to look in this question, and I found only real numbers, or sorry, only these numbers which is 100 million, 60 million, 70 million dead by communism. All I found. Thanks to one guy, I know the source of these lies. And source of these lies is Nazi propagandist. The man who defected to Nazi Germany and then create books in the West to fight against communism. And the American government, of course, perpetuated. You have to be critical about the information from Solzhenitsyn books. You must remember that there was Cold War. Cold War, it's a war of propaganda. And suddenly, of course, like out of nowhere, Solzhenitsyn defected to the West, and they give him a Nobel Prize for his book. Because he, of course, it's all because he write the truth. Oh my god, you can't be that stupid. Even if he will wrote the truth, even if he wrote the truth, number of dead people, number of people who was sentenced to death penalty and who was executed according to the sentence, all those numbers was released in 90s or 2000s in Russia, and now they are classified back because it doesn't support their idea, their belief in this Stalin want to kill people. It's bullshit. You can't rebuild the economy twice and win World War II simply by fear-mongering, make people afraid of you. You can't. It's a war. It's a huge war, devastating war, I don't know, scary war, dangerous, etc. In such conditions, many people would simply give up. And there will be too many people who would give up in such conditions. Gave up to Nazis. This is Nazist propaganda from the 40s, that Americans are reshaped, perpetuated, and pushed on people, and they indoctrinate you since 1950s with false statements, with false idea, with false numbers, with false prophets. And now you're going to die to protect those lies. How is this can even happen in United States? This is ridiculous. Wake up, people, you've been brainwashed. They're trying to push you on each other, even right now. They're trying to create as much movements as they can. Fascist, anti-fascist, nacist, anti-nacist, socialist, capitalist, I don't know, anarcho-capitalist, anarcho-socialist, anarchist, I don't know how many else there. Black people, white people, I don't know, Christian people, Muslim people. They push and push and push in many directions, so you could never get together and critically think about the situation. Even in such a pile of shit in the United States right now, there is people who understand that it's a bunch of lies, nothing else. Because it doesn't work. The problem of capitalism is not because it's bad or, I don't know, something along those lines. Well, it is bad, but not, well, sometimes for American people. It's awful system. It's awful system of control people control. But if you indoctrinate people, if you brainwash and indoctrinate them, they will going to die for you. They will going to die for this system that doesn't benefit them indirectly. And what we see after all, we see clearly that people are simply trying to how to say it, protect lives, even if it will cost them lives. They will try to protect the lies. Sorry. No matter how many arguments you will give to people, no matter how many documents you will show them, American will never believe, probably, like die-hard Americans, patriots, etc. Well, people who are brainwashed, because you really need to be are pretty damn brainwashed to scream that you're a patriot and let millions and millions immigrants came to the country. But you have to, because it's capitalism and you need cheap workforce and new workers, cheap working force, and new high educated people, because American system of education is created to dump down the population, not to create some elite critically thinking people. After all, we see the consequences in my comments. People will going to die and they will try to apply their logic on you. They will try to deny everything that you say with arguments like, oh, you should be afraid of Gulag, or you should go to Gulag. If you would live there, you will go to Gulag. Oh, you're just jealous. Like, come on, people, don't be children. Don't act like children. It's like, when you saying that you sitting and like two 12-year-old boys sitting and one say to another, look, there is no Santa. Another just simply, ha ha ha, you are jealous. Santa didn't bring you a present and you are just jealous, ha ha ha. And you like looking at him and think, is he that dumb or what? Is that some kind of relevant to you, this kind of thing, way of thinking? Ha ha ha, Santa didn't bring you a present. Ha ha ha, you're just jealous. Come on. You shouldn't act that way. You're adults after all.